Keanu Reeves stood in the first-class line, dressed simply, a stark contrast to the luxury around him. A man watched him with disdain, unable to hide his arrogance. What happened next would leave everyone on that plane completely speechless and forever change one life. Before we continue this story, let us know where you're watching from. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel, because tomorrow we have another special story for you. The Los Angeles airport buzzed with activity. Passengers hurrying, conversations blending together, and luggage rolling in all directions. In the middle of it all, a man stood calmly in the first-class line. That man was Keanu Reeves. Dressed in a plaid shirt, worn-out jeans, and scuffed boots, he carried a backpack that looked like it had traveled the world. There was nothing flashy about him, and because of that, he went mostly unnoticed. Yet, anyone who took a closer look could sense something different about him. It wasn't just his appearance but the aura of calm he exuded, as if he existed outside the chaos. Right behind him in line was Victor Harding. Victor was the complete opposite of Keanu. He wore an expensive suit, polished shoes, and cologne that announced his presence before he even spoke. Every movement was calculated, as though he wanted the world to know he was someone important. His eyes landed on Keanu, and he couldn't hold back a smirk. "First class, ha," Victor said, his voice laced with irony. "You never know who might show up here these days." Keanu turned his head, meeting Victor's gaze with a serene expression. "Yeah, the world is full of surprises." Victor frowned slightly, expecting a bigger reaction. "Nothing personal, but you don't seem like the type who flies like this," he added with a chuckle. "Rare to see someone so casual in first class." Keanu simply smiled. "I guess everyone has their place." The first-class line moved forward, and soon, both men were boarding. Victor, still feeling in control of the exchange, strode confidently to his seat, only to stop short. Keanu was settling into the seat right next to his. "You've got to be kidding me," Victor muttered, shaking his head. "Of all the places, it had to be here." Keanu gave a polite smile. "Looks like we're traveling together." Victor crossed his arms, trying to hide his irritation. Something about Keanu's presence unsettled him. He turned to him again, determined to assert himself. "So, what do you do for a living?" he asked, already convinced he knew the answer. Keanu adjusted his backpack and answered simply, "I work in film." Victor raised an eyebrow. "Oh, commercials? Small-time stuff?" Keanu shook his head, amused. "Something like that?" Victor laughed. "It's interesting, isn't it? People trying to fit into places they don't belong." Keanu remained unbothered. "I think we all end up in the same place when the flight lands, don't we?" As the plane took off and the in-flight service began, Victor made sure to be noticed. "A glass of champagne, please," he ordered with a smug smile. When it was Keanu's turn, he simply requested, "Just water, please." Victor let out a chuckle. "Water? Don't tell me you're going to waste a first-class experience like that." Keanu took a sip from his bottle. "Sometimes, simplicity is enough." Victor scoffed. "Yeah, I guess that works for people who settle for less." Keanu remained calm. Maybe the best is different for everyone. The passengers around them began to take notice. While Keanu stayed composed, Victor continued his attempts to assert dominance. "You know, life is like flying first class," he mused, swirling his champagne. "You work hard, earn your spot, and enjoy it. But some people, they're just here by luck." Keanu turned to him. "Luck or hard work, we all land in the same place." Victor smirked. "Some of us are simply on a higher level." Keanu crossed his arms. "I think the value of being here isn't about what you have, but how you treat others." Victor forced a laugh, but the passengers around them were no longer entertained by his arrogance. Their attention was shifting. "Cheap philosophy," he sneered. "The real world doesn't work that way." Keanu's voice remained even. "The real world is made by people, Victor, and in the end, how we treat others says more about us than anything else." The tension in first class was palpable. Victor, aware that he was losing the respect of those around him, tried one final attack. "People who have nothing always talk about humility." Keanu leaned forward. "I've noticed that people who talk the most about what they have are often the emptiest inside." Victor tensed, gripping his champagne glass. He was about to respond when a flight attendant approached Keanu. "Mr. Reeves, The captain asked me to inform you that your connection in Tokyo is confirmed. He also sends his best regards. The name echoed through the cabin. Murmurs spread. Some passengers widened their eyes. Others exchanged knowing glances. Victor froze. Reeves, he repeated, his voice almost inaudible. Keanu Reeves. Keanu nodded politely, thanking the flight attendant. When he turned back, he saw Victor staring at him as if he had just seen a ghost. I didn't know, Victor stammered. You didn't say who you were. Keanu's response was quiet but firm. I didn't think it was necessary. Victor swallowed hard. I didn't mean to. Keanu cut him off with a small sigh. Victor, the truth doesn't change just because you now know my name. It depends on how you choose to treat people. Victor sat in silence, shame creeping into his expression. The flight landed in silence, the once arrogant businessman now humbled. As passengers disembarked, Victor hesitated, then turned to Keanu. I need to apologize. Not because you're you, but because I was arrogant. I acted like an idiot. Keanu regarded him for a moment, then nodded. I appreciate the apology. More than that, I hope you learn from this. Victor nodded, lost in thought. Maybe you're right, he murmured, watching Keanu walk away, greeting fans with warmth and humility. For the first time, Victor questioned everything he believed about success, realizing that true greatness had nothing to do with wealth or status, but with character. The lesson was clear. True success isn't about what you achieve or show off, but about the positive impact you leave on the world. So the next time you find yourself in a moment of judgment or arrogance, remember, respect and humility never go out of style.